Magkakaroon ng masamang epekto yung Dengvaxia.
But I am very, very, very sorry.
Time to know the news of the week. I'm Ria Fernandez. This is the MB Rundown. The Senate and the House of Representatives approved Thursday the third request of President Duterte to extend martial law in Mindanao. Voting 235-28-1, lawmakers granted the extension of martial law until 2019. The Congress also agreed to suspend the privilege of the writ of habeas corpus in the region, allowing warrantless arrests. In his letter to Solons last December 6, President Duterte asked to prolong the implementation of martial law to quell terrorists. Several civic leaders raised concerns about the matter due to alleged human rights violations. Balangiga Bells are finally home. The historic church relics were formally returned by the United States to the Philippines after 117 years. Here's Hannah Tabios.
From Samar, the group of Nemesio Duran did not mind the scorching heat of the sun at the Villamor Air Base on Tuesday just to witness the return of the historic Balangiga Bells. Duran is a descendant of Vicente Candelosas, who rang the bell to signal the attack against the American oppressors in the town of Balangiga, Eastern Samar on September 28, 1901. 48 of the 78 American soldiers died, which led General Jacob Smith to plot revenge and soon became the infamous Balangiga Massacre. The religious artifacts were seized by the U.S. military forces as war booty, and now they are formally back to the country after a century. Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana also echoed the same sentiments. Meanwhile, the historic bells will finally arrive in Eastern Samar on Saturday, just in time for the start of Simbang Gabi. This is Hannah Tabios for the MB Rundown.
Instead of the usual Filipiniana, Catriona Gray donned a national costume that showed cultural diversity in the country during a pre-pageant event of the 67th Miss Universe in Thailand last Monday. Calling it as LuzViMinda, Gray wowed the crowd by bringing on stage a huge parol back piece from Luzon and wearing a Visayan Pintados-inspired bodysuit and Mindanaoan accessories. Gray earned praises for her effort to present the rich culture and history of Filipinos. She even got an invitation from the National Quincentennial Committee to display her outfit in the museums of the National Historical Commission of the Philippines. The Grand Coronation Night of Miss Universe will be on December 17 in Bangkok. It's so tempting to spend the 13th month pay and bonuses as they are usually given days before holidays. But a chartered financial analyst has some tips on how to use them up wisely. This report.
Exactly 11 days before Christmas, AJ Kagampang, a company psychometrician, had already planned her shopping budget for this season.
Ngayon, 15-14. Na galing sa 13th month, pero hindi lahat yun. Masyadong malaki. Yung may mga savings din ako na extra.
Though prepared, AJ still wants to shop without hurting her budget.
As much as possible, gusto kong matira sa sarili ko.
To help her manage her expenses, MB Rundown talked to chartered financial analyst Nicolene Acosta on how to wisely use money this holiday season.
Set aside a budget. So, carve out an amount from the bonus or the amount you've received and save maybe 10 to 20%, I would say, of that amount.
Alongside the allocated money, she also suggested to list prospective items to buy, including the names of the people who will be receiving them. Gift certificates are also an option if you are uncertain about their preferences. If you are hosting a gathering yet you are worrying about food budget, she recommended throwing a potluck party.
Ito yung parties na you'll ask each guest to contribute a specified dish or kahit hindi dish, but sabihin natin soft drink.
But Nicolin believes that gift giving can also be in the form of sharing your skills or creating personalized items, especially if you are on a tight budget but you have the luxury of time.
From an investment-like perspective, the payoff of this kind of strategy is more long-term because the skill is more sustainable. It's not a one-time gift. It's something that they can use over and over again.
Meanwhile, malls have extended operating hours as early as November to accommodate Christmas shoppers. With this, authorities are advising the public to be vigilant against pickpockets and tricksters. This is Hannah Tabias for the MB Rundown.
French President Emmanuel Macron has promised to increase minimum wage in his country starting next year. Macron's move hopes to end weeks of violent Yellow Vest protests that initially opposed fuel tax hikes before expanding to other issues. In a televised speech early this week, the French president announced additional 100 euros a month in the minimum wage from 2019. Paired with removal of taxes on overtime and year-end bonuses, even taxes on pensions below 2,000 euros monthly had been cancelled. But despite this, some protesters were still dissatisfied with Macron's concessions. Meanwhile, these are the other top news of the week.
The 17th Congress failed to pass the proposed 2019 budget as it adjourned its session for month-long Christmas vacation. The government will then run under a reenacted allocation or based on this year's budget until at least for the whole month of January 2019. Some senators blamed the delay of the approval due to the alleged pork barrel insertions which were earlier denied by House members, including House Speaker Gloria Arroyo and House Majority Leader Rolando Andaya Jr. The lower chamber has approved on third and final reading the draft federal charter. The measure, principally authored by Speaker Gloria Arroyo, includes the shift to a federal form of government as well as the removal of term limits for lawmakers. But former Consultative Committee spokesperson Conrado Generoso slammed the self-serving draft charter of the House. LTFRB has warned arresting angkas bikers and impounding their vehicles if they defy Supreme Court's TRO on the motorcycle hailing service operations. The High Court halted the Mandaluyong Court's order allowing angkas to hit the streets again.
Let's take a quick recap of the MB Rundown for today, December 14. Congress approves martial law extension in Mindanao until end of 2019. United States returns the Balangiga Bells to the Philippines after 117 years. Catriona Gray showcases her LuzViMinda-inspired national costume in Miss Universe 2018 pre-pageant. A chartered financial analyst lays down tips on how to use up money wisely this holiday season. And French President Macron promises to raise minimum wage in response to Yellow Vest protests. And that's the MB Rundown. I'm Ria Fernandez.